Hello and welcome. On this episode, I'd like us to explore some of the lessons that we can learn from the early European economic migrants. Really important subject, so please do share your thoughts and ideas with me in the comment section. This topic is important because it seeks to answer the question as to why people move. Because the question is asked often, why have you come here? Why have you moved? I'm afraid for us to answer this question, we must dive back into a little bit of history, just to give us a foundation to understand this topic properly. I think the earliest evidence that we have into human civilization comes from archaeology that tells us that it probably started somewhere in Africa. And through centuries, that civilization moved from Africa to the north of Africa and to Asia through the great cradles of civilization in the Euphrates and the Tigris, and then moved through Eastern Europe and then condensed in Western Europe. So Western Europe is a focal point of our collective movements and endeavors and civilizations. It all condensed in Western Europe for many different reasons, which we will not explore in this topic. But throughout this time, there's been great feats of human movements of migration and migrations to the Americas through ices and glaciers and through very, very unsafe conditions. We're able to establish our civilization to the ends of the earth, to Australia or Oceania, and so we've established our civilization through all corners of the earth, through movement. From that starting point, we've moved outwards. But in less modern times, we have other expeditions especially from Europe, to other parts of the world, like the Spanish expeditions to Central and South America. We have movement even within Europe itself, within Southern and Western Europe, the Vikings moving into the British Isles, and so movement has been part of our race. Now, the key driver of that movement has been economic migration, economic prosperity. So people have moved to be able to establish societies that are better, that are safer, and to move to find resources to build the societies. In more modern times, with the rise of the industrial revolutions, there was a need for raw materials to construct Western Europe. So again, European economic migrants moved out into the colonies, where resources were then extracted and repatriated back into Western Europe. Human resources, material resources taken from Africa, Asia, Southeast Asia, from India, to build the empires of Western Europe, which ruled for long periods of time. And also worth noting is great wave of European migrations, from the Irish migrations, Italian migrations, and a whole host of Europeans then moved to America to build societies. It's worth noting that in all of this migratory movement, there has been prosperity. There are obviously negative aspects to migration, and there's lots of them that we can talk about, but I think that immigrants do tend to construct, to build societies, and this is something that I wanted to talk about in this episode. The lessons that we can learn from European economic migrants is a lesson from our race, that we will always move. We will always move to find economic prosperity, to find status, and to find safety. It is the same reason why European expeditors moved to South America and Central America, crossed the Great Glaciers to get to America, moved to Africa with its mosquitoes and its temperatures to find economic prosperity. The modern day migrant, legal or illegal, is moving for the same reason. The illegal migrant will cross the same oceans that our European economic migrants cross to be able to find better on the shores. So it is a certainty that we, as a race, we will always move. Nothing we can do about that. It speaks to our essence, it speaks to our origin, it speaks to every part of us as a race that we will move. When we think we can do better, when we think there is safety out there, when we think there's wealth, we will move. People will always move. And I'm afraid to say that legal migration is a privilege that a lot of people do not have, either because of means or because a lot of countries do not have safe legal ways for people to move into those countries. And if people do not find safe ways of moving, legal ways of moving, they'll find other ways of moving. So I think illegal migration is a consequence of a lack of routes or means of legal migration. With migration itself, it's part and parcel of us. There is no sensibility about it, because when the European economic migrants moved to other continents and places to move, they were actually quite vicious. a lot of the times they took by force. Immigrants of today's societies do not have the means to enact any force, but all they have is will and persistence, and they will keep moving till they find safety for themselves and their families, till they find better economic means. This is not going to change. Now, the governments have powers to control their borders and boundaries. You give it to them, they do have that. But they also have the power to be able to direct cultural integration and to also find a means to see that people move into societies that are safer for them, but to also acknowledge the fact that people will move to enjoy other corners of this earth. So I think rather than stoking the conversation in negative ways, we can understand and bring some humanity into this conversation to try to see why people move and try to understand the reasons for doing that. There's lots that we can talk about this subject, and I hope to talk more about this as we produce more episodes of this podcast. But what are your thoughts around this? And please do share them with me in the comment section. Thank you.